Thank you all very much. A lot of fun. I've had a few, when you write country music the way I do, sometimes you lean a little R&B, and sometimes you lean more country, and sometimes you're a little more pop. But the country stuff, sometimes you don't realize, who's going to pick a song up and record it, And I've had a couple of bluegrass cuts, and actually I've had a few bluegrass groups pick up my tunes and record them bluegrass style. And it always made me really proud because I grew up, on bluegrass, being from Appalachia, so close to Kentucky. They say West Virginia is almost heaven because it's next to Kentucky, right? But anyway, this one on my Places record, another one on the Places record that a guy by the name of Edgar Loudermilk picked up. And Edgar used to be is it on? Oh, okay. Edgar was is it there now? And Edgar used to be he was the mandolin player for one of my favorite groups, Shenandoah, when they were really hot, And so, and Edgar kind of broke off after they stopped touring a little bit. And he got a deal on Sugar Hill Records because he's a bluegrass guy, There's real high harmonies. And he called me out of the blue one day. I was on the road somewhere. And he called me and said, this is Edgar Loudermilk, Tony, I hope you don't mind me calling your phone number. And I was like, well, no, man, And so he was like, I don't know if you know who I am. I was like, yeah, I know who you are. You played with Shenandoah as one of my favorite groups. And so he was like really proud of that moment. I said, well, man, yeah, I'm a big fan. So he asked if he could cut a song of mine called Dreaming Enough to Get Me By. So I'll do the countryer version. And then if you want to pick up a bluegrass version, you can get Edgar's song. Every day I'm chasing bill after bill, running 2 steps behind. I look to my horizon and see hill after hill that get harder and harder to climb. But as long as I am able, I'll put food on the table. Yes, I found myself a good way to survive. I'm just dreaming enough to get me, dreaming enough to get me, dreaming enough to get me by. I keep on knocking on door after door. Lord, my soul's wearing thin, and I keep on standing on shore after shore, waiting, wondering where my ship has been. Till that tide starts to turn, and I'll keep living and learning the darkest hours right before the morning light. I'm just dreaming enough to get me, dreaming enough to get me, dreaming enough to get me by. I keep my eye on that pie in the sky. I'm just dreaming enough to get me by. But as long as I am able, I put food on the table. Yes, I found myself a good way to survive. I'm just dreaming enough to get me, dreaming enough to get me, dreaming enough to get me by. Lord, I pray it ain't all pie in the sky. I'm just dreaming enough to get me, dreaming enough to get me, dreaming enough to get me by. And that's just about as fast as my arm will go at this point in my life. So just so y'all know. That was kind of a really cool surprise. And what's funny about the move to Texas was that even though, I wasn't in the thick of all the Nashville stuff where you pitch songs on a regular basis to the artists that are on the record labels and that are vying for a position on the Billboard charts, that pay the big bucks. I was getting these artists, to record my material. I wasn't getting them to do it. They were just calling me to record songs. And they were like my heroes, when I was a kid. And, folks like Alabama and Johnny Lee recorded several things of mine, and Johnny and I became great friends and wrote a few songs with Johnny Rodriguez, and so I got an opportunity to ride around with him a little bit and open some shows, and Johnny was kind of a different character, as you can imagine. So it was really neat because even though, these didn't necessarily bring in the big bucks, the royalty bucks, they brought in a lot of affirmation of the fact that I went to Nashville to write the best songs I could write, and I was trying to pay homage to the people that I'd grown up listening to, right? And so it was kind of a nice change of pace when I got down here, and I was touring, and then I was getting calls just out of the blue about people who were recording my songs, and I'll never forget getting a call from a buddy of mine down in South Texas. He's an artist, touring artist, by the name of Kelly Kenning. A lot of following down there, and Kelly had recorded a song of mine. And then he handed his recording to Johnny Lee, and Johnny called me up and said, I want to cut this song, And then I guess 3 or 4 years later, I got this call from Kelly, and Kelly Kenning said, man, I just want to call and tell you congratulations on your new record that Mo Bandy recorded. I said, Mo Bandy? Is he still making records, And he said, yeah, he's in Branson, but he's putting out some new albums. He's got a label that's putting some albums. Like, well, man, what's he recording, And he told me it's the same thing that he and Johnny had recorded, an old rodeo song called Broken Bones. And what's crazy about this song being recorded by Mo Bandy is I remember distinctly the day I came up with the idea. I was driving into Nashville. It was many years prior to that, and I always listened to the oldies country music station in Nashville. And Mo Bandy came on, and of course it was Bandy the Rodeo Clown. And there's a bridge section in that song that says, that gal broke a whole lot more than this old cowboy's bones. And I was thinking, man, that's a great idea. I wonder if anybody's ever written that, So I got to town. I was writing with a buddy of mine. He was a physician. He was actually a retired heart surgeon, right? He was the chief cardiologist of Miami Heart Institute.
So you didn't need your heart.
And so the thing was, we would always talk about medicine like for the first hour at least, and he would always go, "Man, I think you know more about this stuff than I do." So he and I would always rap a little while about medicine. I think that's really why I wrote with him, because I wanted to get all of that stuff out of the way. And anyway, he's like, well, what are we going to do today, man? We wrote all the time. He was a super smart guy. And so I said, man, you're probably not going to want to do this because it's not very marketable now. But, man, I want to write this rodeo song. I came up with this little idea. And he's like, what is it? I said, I want to call it Broken Bones, man. So forward wind like 15 years later, and here's Mo Bandy. And when I heard the news, I was thinking, man, I hope he doesn't put 2 and 2 together. And I guess he never did, because, he just recorded it. But it's weird because it kind of shows the cyclical nature of inspiration, So Mo inspires me when I'm a kid, with that song. And then I hear it, and then I write a song inspired by that tune, and then years and years later he's inspired by his own sort of music, but I just don't want to tell him that. So this is a little song called Broken Bones. It's kind of y'all like rodeo songs?
Oh, yeah.
I know nobody does. Well, I know, right? You see them right up in Reno. Never think they'll meet again. Then one night in the short go, sees her face up in the stands. They fall in love down in Lufkin, and then part ways in Fort Worth. Takes a bruising down in Houston from a bucket and brawn and from missing her. And he wakes up every morning with a cowboy's aches and pains, wonders if the hurting is fair trade for the fame. He used to think that falling was worse than hanging on. He found out a broken heart don't heal like broken bone. He calls her up from Amarillo, rings and rings clear to San Antonio, lets her tears fall on her pillow. She knows she can't pick up that phone. She'll wake up every morning with her cowboy's aches and pains, and wonder if the hurting is fair trade for his fame. She used to think that falling was worse than hanging on. Found out a broken heart can't heal like broken bone. And the crowd roars in Laredo, neath the bright arena lights, and his mind goes back to Reno, and he rides, and he wakes up every morning with a cowboy's aches and pains, and wonders if the hurting is fair trade for the fame. Used to think that falling was worse than hanging on. He found out a broken heart can't heal. He found out that broken hearts can't heal like broken bones. He sees them right up in Reno. Oh, thank you, Mo Bandy. He wound up cutting another song of mine, but I just don't remember the title of it. Oh, it's called Cowboys, something about cowboys. It's called Long Live the Cowboy. That's what it's called. So if y'all, it's a pretty good one too, I think.
So Tony, one thing, you brought your lovely book tonight.
I did.
But you didn't bring any music. So where can everybody get your music from?
Well, I'm sort of all over the internet. I guess. I mean, how many distributors are there now? There's like Apple and Deezer and Spotify.
I'm talking
and
something you can feel. Something that can come
oh,
out.
CDs. Oh, yeah. Well, now, I've got like 3 of them are out of print right now. And I have another 4 or 5. I've recorded, I think, 14 albums over my, lackluster career as an independent artist. And and so I know that there are 3 or 4 of them that are out of print, maybe only 3. I've got an acoustic album that I did when I first moved here. And then after that, I recorded an album called, what was the name of that album? Wow, that's been a long time ago. I recorded an album that, oh man, I can't remember. I can see it, but I can't see the title on it. Anyway, wait. If I can remember the song, it's, it may take me forever to, anyway. That record, I did a duet with Willie Nelson on it. If you're a Willie fan, it might be worth taking a look at. It was an epic Western tale, and I woke up and I sort of dreamed the song, and so I woke up out of a kind of a one of those sun twilight sleeps, And I wrote down the lyric, and I wasn't sure where the story was going, but I do remember it sort of just fell out on the page, and I recorded a version, and I called a buddy of mine, because I thought it'd be a good Willie Nelson song, because he likes singing, epic Western motif songs and all that, and I thought, make a movie out of it, too, I mean, I dream big, why not, right? And so... I actually had a really good friend of mine who pitched it to Willie, and then it was crazy because a few weeks later I got this phone call, and it was this voice on the phone that it sounded sort of familiar, but I wasn't sure who it was. And it was like, "Hey Tony, I got that song in a CD from you." I really like it. It's a really cool song, And what are you going to do with that? He says. And I'm like, well, I mean, what do you want me to do with it? I mean, I can. So I was thinking, oh man, he's interested, right? And I'm like, who is this? And he goes, well, it's Willie. And I was like, no, come on, man. I thought maybe it was a buddy of mine from Nashville who was playing a trick on. It turns out it really was him, And yeah, well. I wouldn't put it past me, didn't I? But anyway, it was him, and what was crazy about it is I thought, man, he wants to cut it. That would be awesome to have a Willie Nelson cut, know. And then he said, well, I mean, are you going to put it on one of your records, And I said, well, I don't have to. I mean, if you don't want me to, well, he was like, oh, no, He said, well, I was kind of wondering if you are. I mean, I think it'd be a pretty cool duet. Would you mind if I, maybe sang a little bit of it with you? And I'm like, okay, hold on just a second, Willie. I'm gonna talk to my people about it. And yes, they said absolutely, right? So at any rate, that was early in the year, and he was, I thought, well, I mean, maybe he's just kind of, maybe he had a really good, maybe that's not going to happen, right? But because the time went on, and of course he's super busy because he's still touring at this point, and it was getting down to the very bottom of the year, and I had a gig booked in Zapata, Texas, which is way down there in Catfish Lake, And I was doing a New Year's Eve show with a band. And Buddy Cannon, as things come full circle, the first guy that brought me to town, Buddy called me up and said, hey, Tony, man, Willie's real excited about that song, man. And I was thinking, well, what does that mean? Does that mean he's not it? Because Buddy did all of Willie's vocals for him in the studio when he was done. And he said, man, we're going to go. He wants to go in and record some of it. Have you got the tracks ready and everything? And I was like, oh, my God, I can't believe he's actually calling for the tracks, So I was scared about sending them over the internet because it was like, what if something happens? I said, well, when is he recording the session? And he said, well, he's going in on New Year's Eve this year. And I'm like, so Willie's recording on New Year's Eve? Like, well, who does that, right? And he goes, yeah, that's when he wants to go in. It's going into his studio at Paternalis. And so I just so happened I was driving by there, going to Zapata. So I said, I'll swing over, give a DVD file of the tracks and all that. And I remember he has his own studio there, and there's a sliding glass door. And it was like I know I've told this story before, but it's true. That's why I remember it as the sliding glass door to his studio. It was like the Scooby-Doo mystery machine. So when it opened up, a billow of smoke came out, and it smelled very strong, right? Very fragrant. And I thought to myself, this is either going to be really good or really bad, right? But it turned out just magnificent, and he finally got the mix and the comps about January, February, and so I was able to put it on the album. And And I met him, in person. He invited me out to one of his shows at Choctaw in Oklahoma to come back, and he wanted to call me back. This is how cool Willie is, okay? He called me back and wanted me to come backstage to be a part of his show that night, so I went back and greeted him as he came off the bus. He said, "I'm glad you came, Tony," and it's kind of a cool spirit, if you've ever met Willie in person. And he said, "Hey, thanks for letting me sing on your song." It's like,
Whoa.
I was like, did he just thank me for singing? I said, "Hey man, thank you,
Yeah.
anytime, anytime." And he was really cool, man. He said, "Well, good luck with it. I really think it's a cool song, And then he walked off because we talked for a few minutes. He had to go on stage, and he turned around and he said, "See you down the road." I was like, "Well, I hope so."
So did you make it to Zapata?
I made it to Zapata, and what happened was Buddy was texting me the whole night, telling me that he was cutting the bridge. Then he was telling me, "Hey, he just sang the last verse, man, it's going to be cool." And then he put some gut string guitar. He put Trigger on it, too. I was always worried they were going to call me back and say, "Yo, that'll be $180,000, by the way, for Willie's performance." But he never did, so I was happy about that. So anyway, it was a pretty cool experience, and that was my Willie Nelson cut, And kind of not too long after that, is when I got a call to write a song for a movie, and so I said, "There's no way I'm going to write a song for a movie," because I had just written a song that landed in a movie called Pure Country 2. Yeah, the one that nobody saw, right? And it played all the way through. And I went to the theater that night, and there were 6 people in the audience. And I sneaked out quietly about midway through after my song was sung. And it did not buy the yacht that I thought it was going to buy. So I was real embittered by all that. And so when my friend Jeff Sylvie said, "Man, I'm working on this movie. I'm the music supervisor of this movie about Hank Williams Sr. The last 3 days," and I told him point blank, I said, "Jeff, I'm emotionally unavailable for you in movies right now." But he talked me into it, and it actually turned out pretty cool. It was a good movie. And this is the title track. I come on the radio while old Hank is driving up to Oak Hill, West Virginia, so if you turn it up real loud, you can hear me over his talking. It's ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Young turns to old like steel turns to rust. And it comes just a little bit quicker when you're living the fast life. And the trail you're taking today, well, it could be your last ride. Sooner or later, you meet your maker. He's waiting somewhere down the line. It ain't that far from your first breath till you say your last goodbye. Well, the cowboy never mounts his horse on the good Lord's bad side. 'Cause the trail you're taking today, well, it could be your last ride. The tears and the smiles, the joy and the pain, love every mile through the sunshine 'Cause the trail you're taking today, well, it could be your last ride. Sooner or later, you meet your maker. He's waiting somewhere down the line. It ain't that far from your first breath till you say your last goodbye. Well, a cowboy never mounts his horse on the good Lord's bad side. 'Cause the trail you're taking today, well, it could be your last ride. No, a cowboy never mounts his horse on the good Lord's bad side. 'Cause the trail you're taking today, well, it could be your last ride. Oh, I think it plays at the end credits too, but you'll be asleep by then. Actually, it's a pretty good movie. It's actually pretty well done for a small budget film, and it's supposed to be super accurate, right, to the actual stories from those who knew Hank best, right? So, so the movies, never made me a lot of money. Video games didn't either. So I had a few in those as well. But while I was down here in Texas, the cool thing about Texas was that I was actually just doing my own songs, right? And showing up at different venues like this one, playing them. And it's pretty cool because people started to become familiar with the records, and some of them played on the radio, like, for example, Water Tower Skyline and a couple other tunes. If you were listening to the radio at any regularity at all, you might have heard one come on at 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning. So they were really good about doing that, playing your music, But probably one of the most popular, my first number one. I've had several number one songs as a writer in Texas, in the regional Texas regional radio, right? And that was really great because those pay somewhere upwards of sometimes $12, $13, so they're really so great cuts, you get. But, we don't do it for the money, thank goodness, right? And anyway, I'll never forget, though, I went down to Corpus Christi, and I was doing another little radio tour, like it was third or fourth single, and I played, there was a really nice radio DJ down there, and it's a pretty big station. I go in and do his morning show, and he says, "Man, your song is really doing great down here." And I'm like, "Well, thanks a lot, So I don't get to visit with him very long, and he said, "Man, you're not going to believe the story I have about your song, And I said, "Well, what? Well, tell me what it is." So the song was like a top 10 or 5 record on a fella by the name of Jason Meadows, right? And so Jason Meadows was a really popular artist, toured really heavy down here. He recorded that song, and he made a stop at this same radio station about 6 or 7 months prior to me being there. And so he comes in, and it was the number one requested new Texas single on that station, that major market station. And I was like, "Hey, well, that's good news, right?" And he goes, No, you got to hear the rest of the story." So Jason apparently comes in, they shake hands, and they talk about it. And I found the song in Nashville. It was really cool. The fella, a couple of people wrote it, really loved, and Roger Springer, Tony Ramey. I'm from West Virginia originally, and Roger's from Oklahoma, and it took us two to get together to write a song about Texas. And so anyway, he says I found the song, my people found that song, and it's cut, and it's been really a blessing, And the guy says, "Well, great, let's go ahead and play it, like while you're here in the studio." This is Jason sitting there, and he plays the song. And oddly enough, Jason starts to get this really weird look on his face, like he starts to look around. And the DJ's, of course, he's like, "Hey, what's going on, man? What's wrong?" And he says, "Well, that ain't me." And he's like, "Well, what do you mean it's not you? This has never been to Texas, right?" And he says, "Yeah, but that's not my version. I think that might be Tony's version you're playing." And so he realized that I was the number one requested single in the Corpus area, but I wasn't getting too much credit for it, right? So anyway, I'm the only one-hit wonder in the Corpus area that no one knows but me. And of course, Jason's a really cool dude.
Yeah.
And I think I ran into him one time. I said, "Man, I know." So he goes, "Oh gosh," that was crazy, man. He says, "Well, I was mad at you a little bit for that." And I said, "Man, you were crazy to admit it. Why didn't you just play it out? I wouldn't have done that. I would have just said, 'Hey, thanks for playing me. See you later.'" But he's too nice of a guy, to be honest. But anyway, so this is kind of one of the big Texas anthems that I play. So I've turned many church into honky tonks with this song. Many a honky tonk into churches right now. Seen a man on the TV. He was out in California, talking about where we came from. Said the reason we're all here is purely accidental. The evidence all points to evolution. Well, I took a drink of coffee, stepped out on my front porch. I looked up at the sky and out at my old horse, and I thought, well, he ain't never seen a sunset out west, a cactus or a paintbrush bloom in the springtime. He ain't never seen a coyote crying, a young colt take off running in the sunshine. Well, sometimes we overthink it, but I've thought a lot about it, and the only thing that makes any sense is if you don't believe in God, but you ain't never been to Texas. I wish all those non-believers cross that old Red River, 'cause it would open up their eyes. When you wake up every morning and you're looking out at heaven, Lord, it ain't hard to recognize. If there's anybody out there still trying to figure out exactly where we came from, what life was all about, the light say he ain't never seen a sunset out west, a cactus or a paintbrush bloom in the springtime. He ain't never seen a coyote a crying, a young colt take off running in the sunshine. Well, sometimes we overthink it, but I've thought a lot about it, and the only thing that makes any sense is if you don't believe in God, but you ain't never been to Texas. Yeah, and if you don't believe in God, but you ain't never been to Texas. Amen.
I heard that song on the radio this week.
This week? That's at least 2 pennies. That's right. Cha-ching! Yeah, they still play it quite a bit, I think, especially on the local stations. But it might have been me even. Yeah, you never know. They could have sent the wrong CD. You never know. Y'all take care. Yeah, be safe. So and all of those, wonderful blessings in terms of the cuts, the other artists are getting it at the same time, I'm touring and all that. But I do have one request. I'm not sure how well I'm going to do this because I haven't done it in a little while. But it's always one of the most popular requests that any show, the crowd is, and it's the only song that I have never actually recorded. So Randy and Helen, you do have the only extant recordings of this song. And so this is a little song that is it's a true story. So that's why I wrote it. I had written a song for the racetrack, the drag and Ennis, the drag racetrack. Yeah, that's right. And so I had written this little song. I was kind of doing some things for the Ford Motor Company, and I'd written this little song for the racetrack people, and I sang it, out in the, in the racetrack during the show, and I kind of had a little booth outside after the show, and a guy came up to my booth, and he was really a cool cat, was dressed really nicely, and said, "Man, I really love your music. My girlfriend would just love your music. She's just a big country music fan, and we've got a hotel. We're staying in a hotel over there. We just love. She couldn't come out because she was tired from the trip because I'm out in Odessa. So it'd be great if you'd come over. I know you're busy, but come over and maybe have a couple beers or whatever. That would be awesome if you met her." I said, "Well, yeah, I'll be done here in a few minutes." So it was real close. It's just across the road. So I go over there, and I'm waiting in the, he meets me in the lobby. He's like, "Hey, man, thanks for coming. She's going to be super excited. I told her all about you, Okay, sure. She comes down, and I've never been one to judge any character based on how somebody looks, but this guy was real dapper, super accountant, and she wasn't really. And I didn't, she was very sweet though, super nice. And we talked for a long time. She talks about country music and so finally it's late in the evening and she's like, "I'm really tired. You two boys stay down here, have a good time, blah, 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 blah." So she walks off and I didn't say anything. So I was just praying that I didn't have a look on my face or something, So, and he says, "Man, I tell you, I've lost a lot of really good friends over her, man. I know we don't really look like we're a match, And I'm like, "Hey, man, I didn't say anything, she seems very sweet, And he said, "I know, man, but I tell you, I just love her to death. It's been a hard road, man, because I've lost some really good buddies, So he tells me the whole story. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I wish you would not have told me this story because I'm a songwriter, so I'm going to have to go write it. And that's probably one of the reasons I've never recorded this song, except for here.
It's going to be your money. I'm serious.
I think maybe that's what I'm afraid of. So let me see if I can remember all this, because it is an interesting and true story. If you sing along, it'll be even better. I think I should do it about right here in E. Well, we were the best of friends, through thick and thin. More than just a few beers and tears. We'd been overseas, Ellie took a bullet for me. It had been that way for years. It was all for one, one for all. Us against the world in the fight. He fell in love and push come to shove, and I drew the line last night. Now, and this is a participation song, so y'all are supposed to say, "Why?" Why? Well, 'cause he's got a big mouth, white trash girlfriend. He talks like a sailor too. Yeah, she says words I got a barbed wire band tattoo. And if that ain't enough, she thinks she's hot stuff, but she don't spit when she chews. He's got a big mouth, white trash girlfriend I ain't ever gonna get used to. Now when she walked in, I knew right then, with her Camel cigarettes and toe, those cut-off jeans said truck stop queen. She said, I'm Hammond is a low-class hoe. And she ordered up a glass, and then she threw it on back, and then she kissed my girl on the lips. They're pulling hair extensions everywhere, and everybody got pissed.
Why?
'Cause he's got a big mouth, white trash girlfriend. He talks like a sailor too. Yeah, she said words I ain't never heard. She got a barbed wire band tattoo. And if that ain't enough, she thinks she's hot stuff. She don't spit when she chews. He's got a big mouth, white trash girlfriend. I said a big mouth, white trash girlfriend. I mean a big mouth, white trash, nasty arse girlfriend. I ain't ever gonna get used to. I pass no judgments on barbed wire band tattoos, just so everybody's aware of that. Yeah, so that might be my most requested tune. So, and I don't really know what to think of that. Seeing as how I spent a lot of my career writing serious songs. Play Big Mouth White Trash. So, yeah, I've had some crazy stuff over the years. Well, this is a little tune that a good friend of mine who had passed away a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, Scotty Ray, who was Colin Ray's brother. And Scotty and I got together one year, and this is a pretty funny story in the book, you know, if you think about it. We got together, and he was working with this little girl in Lindale. She was really, you know, good, he said. And man, I'd love for us to get together and write some songs with her. It just so happened I'd come off of a whole year of working with this other girl in Nashville who was trying to get a record deal and all that, and so she did. She got a publishing deal on all the songs that I'd helped her build, and then she got a record deal on all the songs I'd helped her build, and then when she built the record for the label, I didn't get any songs on the album, so I was like very embittered by all that. You know? I wasn't really. I kind of felt sorry for her because you get caught up in the machine, you know, in that machine, so I didn't hold it against her. But anyway, I was like, I wasted a lot of time in writing really good songs with her. So by the time I got to the writing session with Scotty, and he told me there's this girl that he's writing with, man, she's really good. I'm like, hey, I'm emotionally unavailable for that. And he said, oh man, I know about how that goes. But me too, man. I'm not one to work with, you know, girl singers either. And I'm like, well, man, you know, I like you, bro, but I mean, so how old is she? I mean, she said she's young. She says, well, she's only 15 right now. And I said, 15? First of all, what am I going to talk to her about? I mean, I don't know what to say to a 15. What are we going to write about, man? He said, well, I know, man. He said, if you change your mind, you know. Well, that day we wrote this song, and later on, I guess, in the year, Scotty told me, man, I played that song we wrote for this chick, and she really loved it, but man, she just feels like she's too young to cut it. And I said, well, probably, you know, it's an adult song, you know.
Yeah.
So what's crazy is, you know, she never did record the song, even though she said how much she loved it. But what's even crazier is that the girl he was talking about was Miranda Lambert, you know. And so, yeah, boy, I missed that one, right? So don't ever be emotionally unavailable is the lesson for any kind of co-writes, right? But I probably would have just ruined her career anyway. So I think about it that way, I would have shut her label down, right? And so, but many years later, she Scotty Ray and she were still on tour. He was still her guitar player. And one night, apparently, she was at the City Winery. It was right after her divorce with Blake Shelton. And she was super emotional that night. Everybody had come out to see her. And she just decided to sing one of her favorite songs ever right there on the spot. And it was happened to be Mine, right?
Oh, wow.
So all these people were holding up their iPhones and recording it. And by morning, I didn't know anything about this, and no idea, because I was touring and doing my own thing. And I got this text from a friend of mine who lives in Canada, right? He lives in Toronto, right? He texts me out of the blue in the morning, and he says, "Hey, man, congratulations on the Miranda Lambert thing." And I was like, What are you talking about? He said, so... she just, she's got a song of yours that she just sang and it's going viral, right? And I said, man, are you sure? Because what song is it? He texted me back because my buddy knows me really well. He said, you are the only human on the planet that would have a Miranda Lambert song going viral and not be aware of any of it. Which he's right, I would have no idea. So he said, man, no, I'm pretty sure it's yours. And I said, well, how do you know? And which song is it? And he said, it's a song called Scars that you wrote with, Scotty Ray. And I said, well, that makes sense. But man, are you sure it's mine? Because there are a lot of songs probably named called Scars, right? And he said, I'm pretty sure, man, here's the link to Rolling Stone magazine, and your name is in it. So I was like, okay, well, it must be mine. So it was a pretty cool little deal. And before Scotty passed, he got to produce the tune on his brother Colin and Miranda, and they did a duet of the song. And so it was kind of a cool, fulfilled dream of Scotty's in particular, which I thought was really nice. And it turns out that this song was also on that Places album, right, that I had recorded and toured with in 2004. So see if I can remember this one. Some are deep, some are not, some never hurt at all, some hurt a lot, some are there from our mistakes, and they're all that's left to show of the choices that we make. And even the ones too small to notice are there to remind us who we are. And I believe that if the world could look inside us, they just might see a blemish on our hearts from these scars. I got mine, you got yours. We've lived enough to know not to hide them anymore, 'cause we've had time, and time can heal. It can change the way we look, it can change the way we feel. And I understand as well as you do, sometimes a touch can go too far. But love was never meant to be that easy, and they don't just disappear in the dark, these scars. And the pain that I remember is the pain that makes me stronger. I've had to look at life that way, I've learned to rise above it, to keep from going under. Take it step by step, day by day. And I'm not ashamed of what you see, 'cause every single scar has become a part of me, and all I know is here and now. Yesterday's gone, and we made it through somehow. Looking back, I'm glad I took my chances. They were worth at least enough to leave a mark. And maybe we don't know where we're going, but it's enough for me to know where we'll start. With these scars, these scars. Woo! All right. So have y'all had a good time tonight? Well, I was thinking, would y'all mind if I kind of read a little bit of the book here, like a little... I mean, I don't want to give it away. It's just a spoiler alert, you know. But like I said, it was sort of my story and a parallel journey to the kind of end of an era, you know. And I was thinking, you know, at the very last of the book, one of my favorite places in, it was kind of inspired because I was thinking, where in the world am I going to take this? Because, I mean, I'm still kind of doing music, so and I thought to myself, this is a funny read when you get there. So I happened to, I was going out to Lubbock to celebrate the Texas Country Music Association award. The Mary Minter from Houston, really a sweetheart of a lady. I've gotten a couple of awards from that little organization here in Texas as an artist, you know. And so I was going out there, and they were doing a kind of an award, like a duet of the year, sort of a Texas, for Dennis Quaid and Johnny Rodriguez. Dennis is a huge Johnny Rodriguez fan. And so they were both there performing that night. Of course, I was just there for the dinner, of course. I mean, I was just supporting, man. So they performed, and then after the show, I was super tired because it's like a 5-hour little jaunt out there. Super tired, and I was getting ready to go to bed in a hotel room upstairs from where the function was. And Johnny calls me up and says, "Hey, man, it's Johnny Rodriguez, buddy. Listen, can you come upstairs, man? Me and Dennis are hanging out, man. We just kind of wanted to play a few songs and stuff, you know." And I said, "Oh, man, I'm kind of beat, Johnny. Like, it's like almost midnight, man. I've been driving." He goes, "Oh, man, we won't be long. You know, come on up, man." So I go upstairs, you know, and peck on the door, and it's my buddy and I, Kelly Kenning. And so I was like, man, I will not be able to stay long, you know, because I'm like beat. So Dennis opens the door, and he's got these Elvis pajamas on. And I was like, okay, did I come at a bad time, you know? And so Johnny, of course, is sitting at the bar of the hotel kitchenette, the little deal, and there's a lot of tequila lined up, you know. Oh, God. So they've already sort of been at it for a while, I guess, and so as the story goes, you know, we sit around with the guitar, and we pass the guitar around, and we're playing these songs, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, I watched his alien friend have a baby in Enemy Mine when I was 10 years old, right? I was like, it was just a surreal moment because here's Dennis Quaid, right, playing songs, and I'm like here in the hotel room. we're having a guitar pull, you know, and he's got Elvis pants on. So I was like, this is so wackadoo, you know. But he was super nice, great, really a nice guy, and a really good writer, man. He wrote these cool songs. Had this song called "Don't Call Me Legend," which is kind of about him still being at it and all that kind of stuff. And so it was a real weird, sort of surreal moment for me, you know. And then not 3 weeks later, I got a call from a buddy of mine in Austin. He's a public relations guy, you know, and we worked together on some things. And so in the last section here, it's called Old Coyotes, and that's kind of what I am, an old coyote. And it says, so strange encounters like these seem to be drifting my way more and more lately, Most recently, my buddy Barry Rogers, who's a PR man, amigo of mine out of Austin, Texas, introduced me to the iconic actor Barry Corbin. Y'all remember Barry Corbin, right? I mean, A Lonesome Dove and all of these, I remember him as Uncle Buck and, the movie with Johnny Lee and all that. So they knew each other, what was that about the machine, the bucking machine? What was the name of that movie? The one with John Travolta and Urban Cowboy,
yeah.
Right. So that was one of his first roles, right, Urban Cowboy. So he introduces me to Barry. And he's visiting theaters, Barry is, to share his life journey with fans and those who have followed him throughout his entire career. I've gone so far as to help moderate one of the evenings that Barry had here in Texas. Right? And so in a little town called Mingus, okay, if y'all know where Mingus is. It was an interesting night, to say the least. I was surprised at how tall and formidable a stature Barry Corbin presented. He's a distinctive voice, right, that is undeniably his when he speaks. I pulled up the venue where he performed and I moderated the evening for him. I couldn't help but notice how small the venue looked from the outside. The idea was the owners transformed their bar, the Trio Club, which has been out there for decades, right in the middle of nowhere basically, into a dinner theater for one night only. Now, the Trio Club owners, husband and wife, are terrific people. But some places just can't be turned into other places. And the Trio Club is one of those places. It needed to become a dinner theater because, Barry's evening begins with an homage to Shakespeare. Jacques' monologue from the Bards, As You Like It, to be specific. In other words, Barry likes to begin his show with a bit of culture, if you will. Of course, I've done shows in a lot of different places, places much worse than the Trio Club. As clubs go, the Trio's a pretty good club. But the walls are painted black. The pool tables are always racking and cracking. And the triangular stage is catty-cornered in the larger dance hall area. I could tell, shaking Barry's hand and watching his eyes wander around the room, surveying the neon graffitied walls and the black ceiling, that he was a bit confused at first, maybe even frightened. Well, he said, seeming to steel himself against the situation, this is the first time I've done one of these in a beer joint. I suppose it'll be different for you, I said. He looked around again and then back at me. You could say that. I really couldn't believe what was transpiring. I moderated a sort of a talk show more suited for Jimmy Kimmel, right? Some Hollywood studio than a bar in Mingus, Texas. Tiny little town halfway between Fort Worth and Lubbock where nothing but mesquite, cacti, cottonwood, and some snaky shortgrass grows up around beer joints, rusty hinged metal doors. Of course, I say all this only to be funny. The truth is the crowd thoroughly enjoyed it. In fact, the evening was a smash. And being a fan of Barry Corbin's movies growing up, I felt doubly smashed that we were swapping stories about mutual friends. Johnny Lee and folks in the crowd really enjoyed it too, right? So it's funny, maybe it's a sign of my age, but these days I tend to enjoy swapping stories more and more about mutual friends in this industry who've gone on or are getting on in the world. When I get started, the reminiscent reeks of nostalgia, and I begin to feel something tangible is missing from the puzzle. I'm trying to put it back together. I'm reminded of the old cowboy singer Don Edwards' tune, Coyotes, written by one of my other favorite songwriters, Bob McDill, who also faded from the industry many years ago. He lit out toward other pursuits because, as some have written, he just couldn't get excited anymore about the artist's projects on Music Row. I can't help but think the lines in Coyotes are Western motif metaphors for what's happening to a now all but forgotten tradition in Nashville. Now the Longhorns are gone, the Drovers are gone, the Comanches are gone, and the Outlaws are gone. Likewise, Blake Mevis is gone, famed producer of George Strait's first albums. Irv Woolsey is gone, his manager. Tom Foote is gone, his road manager, right? John Schweers is gone, who I wrote many great songs with. Right? It's hard to believe all these legends, along with a host of others from Porter Wagner and Little Jimmy Dickens, built the foundations that support the high-rises and hotels and the corporate offices, the buildings lined up along what used to be Music Row. And while it's not a ghost town with tumbleweeds and dust devils stirring across empty streets, it's still only a vestige of what it used to be. All the marshals, sheriffs, dangerous song slingers of yesteryear have either grown old and hung their hats in their houses far outside the city, or like me, have escaped to other places. Holding on to what the old town used to be. For old coyotes like me, I'll hold on until I can't. Country music is where I started, and it's where I'll finish. So it's a little excerpt for you all. There is an epilogue, and it's even better, so I'll let you all read that. Yeah. But I really, can you all please give a big hand for Randy and Helen for tonight's beautiful evenings that they set up here. If not for venues like this, and like Jeff, by the way, in Edom, Texas, right? You all, the calendar, I guess, would be online, Jeff. It's the Firehouse, the old Firehouse in Edom, Texas. They have wonderful shows there. Please go and support that as you come out here and support these, because these are. Yeah, absolutely. It's been wonderful. I've played Jeff's venue a couple of times, 3 or 4, and it's just awesome. And I tell you, lasagna is awesome, man. Oh my gosh! But the old Firehouse is great, right? But these, it's not for these venues that give such an appreciation for songwriters and artists and singers, songwriters, and troubadours, right? Then it would be absolutely a lost art, and right, and it's already sort of dying out as we go forward in this kind of crazy techno world that we live in. But I am super appreciative that you all will have me out and kind of listen to me drone on in my guitar for a couple of hours. And thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the book. Please come to the website and tell me. It's TonyRamey.com. Tell me how you like it. Tell me what your favorite parts are and what and all you liked about the book. And I'll probably be starting on another one, in the next 10 years, right, when I'm old, even older now than I am then than I am now. But if you want to hear the music that I put out, I still do put out music. I have songs that are on the radio quite a bit. There are artists that record my music that are Texas-bound artists. And one that I just finished, I've got a couple of new songs out right now. As a matter of fact, one's called Tequila Cowboys that John Wolfe, a buddy of mine, just released. And he just released a song of mine that I was pretty proud of, and I'll end the night with it if y'all mind. One more. One more. Yeah, and I'm good with the bathroom, so I don't have to. So I'll see if I can't. But he called me up. I wrote this song while I was digging. My washer was backing up, and so there was something probably blocking it in my yard. And I hired this plumber who came out and dug 2 holes and couldn't find it and charged me $500. And so I went out back and started digging myself, determined to find it. And while I was doing it, I went ahead and wrote this song. And John, and one of the reasons I did is I thought, well, I'm getting just like my dad, and he would always say, you got to do it yourself, son. And that's just the country folk are always like that, And I thought, boy, the older I get, more country I'm getting to be. And I thought, oh my gosh, right? So yes, I'm turning into my dad. So I'm digging, and I found the leak and I repaired it myself. $500 poorer. Right? But John called me about 3 weeks ago and he said, hey man, this is it only goes back 2 years on Spotify and Apple Music, but this has had more streams in the last 3 weeks than any other of my singles that I've ever released thus far, which is good news, right? All right, yeah. So Buddy may like this song too. If he starts howling, just don't tell anyone. Well, Grandpa turned me on to Hank Williams, Lachlan, and Snow. Dad gave me Waylon, Willie, and Merle on his old Chevy truck radio. And all of my friends were rock and roll fans, oh, but not much has changed for me. As a matter of fact, the older I get, the more country I'm getting to be. But here's to the real stuff. Mamas and babies, lovers and crazies, working folks making ends meet. Honky-tonk weekends, barbecue chicken, waving the flag 'cause you're free. Oh, and when push comes to shove, it's in God we trust, and it's fighting for what you believe. Pearl snaps along necks, yeah, the older I get, the more country I'm getting to be. There was a time I was keen on Corvettes, rag tops and 18-inch wheels. And here I am driving this here old 65 pickup, 'cause I love how it feels. Getting farther away from those big city lights, where the roots of my razor run deep. And I ain't looking back. In fact, the older I get, the more country I'm getting to be. Here's to the real stuff. Mamas and babies, lovers and crazy, working folks making ends meet. Honky-tonk weekends, barbecue chicken, waving the flag 'cause you're free. Oh, and when push comes to shove, it's in God we trust, and it's fighting for what you believe. Pearl snaps and long necks, yeah, the older I get, the more country I'm getting to be. I was always a redneck, but the older I get, the more country I'm getting to be. All right, thank you all very much. Thank you all for getting the book too. It's been fun, Randy and Helen. Thank you all so much. You're so sweet to have me out. Jeff, thanks for coming, and everybody here. Kurt, thanks for bringing so many people, and y'all. Even if you just walk from up the street, I appreciate you coming up, man. I tell you, you could have been anywhere tonight at the movie house, but it's been a blast.